Welcome you all to the course on Introduction to NGO Management. I am Dr. Manjari Agarwal from School of Management Studies and Commerce, Uttarakhand Open University. And in this session, we will be discussing SWOT analysis. In the previous session, we discussed strategic planning, strategic intent, hierarchy of a strategic intent, which includes mission, vision, goals, objectives, and plans. And then we also discussed course value of an organization. Now, after identifying various elements of a strategy, the next step starts with the analysis of overall strategic position of the business and its environment. If you wish to develop a strategic plan, then you first attempt to analyze where your organization is at present. There are various ways in which you can analyze the present position of an organization. And one such tool to do this is SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis is a very common strategic planning approach that has wide applications in various areas, including management. Hence, it is one of the most prominent analytical technique that is used in strategic management. SWOT analysis is undertaken by an organization generally at the start of their strategic planning. To understand the internal and external environment, organizations conduct a SWOT analysis. Hence, it will assist you in presenting a holistic view of the organization's strategic position. A SWOT analysis is a very useful tool for NGOs as well, especially in the present scenario. It also helps to identify, describe, and prioritize an organization's primary performance measures with regard to environmental changes. So the SWOT start with another exercise, an external analysis of the environment, often called as PESTEL, or formerly known as PEST analysis, which you have already learned in one of the sessions. So you can easily relate that SWOT analysis builds on the result of PESTEL analysis. The purpose of SWOT is basically to identify organization's strengths and weaknesses, and it also serves to identify opportunities and threats from external factors, especially those that have an impact on the organization's strengths and weaknesses. So SWOT is the acronym for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Strengths and weaknesses are internal to the organization, whereas opportunities and threats are external to an organization, and these exist in the environment. So as you can see that strengths and weaknesses are internal to an organization, and opportunities and threats are traced from the external environment. So SWOT analysis is concerned with exploring the strategic fit between opportunities and strengths, while simultaneously coping with threats and weaknesses. Therefore, through SWOT analysis, the strengths and weaknesses that exist within an organization are matched with the opportunities and threats operating in the external environment. Further, through SWOT analysis, uniqueness, or you can say core competencies or distinctive competencies are identified by an organization. An efficient organization strategy is therefore one that capitalizes on opportunities to achieve certain goals and objectives through the use of strengths, and it intends to neutralize threats by mitigating the effects on weaknesses. However, you have to identify those opportunities that an organization is not able to capitalize upon due to lack of resources or skills. So we need to focus on 4 key considerations in SWOT analysis. What are they? First, to maximize our strengths, to reduce our weaknesses to a minimum, to take advantage of all the present and potential opportunities in our external environment, and to safeguard ourselves from threats that exist in our external environment. Therefore, NGO must think about how to take full advantage of opportunities and minimize risk existing in an environment. Coming to first aspect of SWOT analysis, that is strength. Now, what is a strength? It is a potential that can be used by an organization to gain strategic advantage. Or, say in other words, we can express that it is an inherent capability of an organization that will help an organization in gaining strategic advantage over other NGOs of its kind or over other organizations. Hence, strengths can be tangible or intangible attributes that are positive in nature and are internal to an organization. So these are the areas where you have a superiority over your competitors or other organizations. So strengths refers to those areas of an organization's functioning that will make the organization or entity distinct from others. These are internal characteristics that will give you an advantage over other organizations. So what is organizational strength? It refers to competitive advantages or institutional advantages and other distinct competencies which an organization can exert in their market or operational areas. Therefore, key strengths shall be the core competencies that will help you in gaining a competitive or institutional advantage. Some of the examples of strengths are like goodwill or brand loyalty, then strong relationship with owners, investors and stakeholders. Ability to raise capital is again one of the strengths. Presence of financial planning and budgeting practices, effective cost control, ability to reduce cost, effective organizational climate, clearly defined organizational structure are few of the examples. Now coming to NGO, in case of NGO, these could be higher donor retention rate, high program attendance and enrollment, client satisfaction rate, significant volunteer hours served per period, strong links with stakeholders, clear vision and mission, great leadership. These could be few of the examples of strengths in case of NGO. Now coming to the second aspect, that is weakness. A weakness is an intrinsic limitation or restriction that creates a strategic disadvantage for an organization. Hence, putting in other words, it is an inherent limitation or constraint of an NGO that will create a strategic disadvantage to it. These are internal characteristics that place the organization at a disadvantaged position relative to others. So what are organizational weaknesses? These are constraints or obstacles which check movement in a certain desired direction and may also inhibit organization from gaining a distinctive competitive advantage. Let's take some of the example of weaknesses like lack of centralization of the control systems, poor managerial capabilities, insufficient research and development facilities, poor utilization of resources. These could be few of the weaknesses. Again, poor reputation could be another. Ineffective and high cost structure is again one of the weaknesses which an organization can have. Now, in case of NGO, say poor record keeping, delay in decision making, volunteer attrition rate, inconsistent source of finance from donation, high cost per service or unit, high employee turnover rate, unsatisfactory website page reviews, or low community event attendance rates. These could be few of the weaknesses. So to gain practical insights on the identification of strengths and weaknesses, let us first refer to a video in which elements which an NGO considers as its important strength or say weaknesses are shared. So let's see this video. Before starting with that, I want to share something about this NGO, that is Himvats. This is a non-governmental organization working towards the development of Uttarakhand. Their main focus is education and health. They are working for the environmental issues, social issues, and development of underprivileged people of Uttarakhand. They are working towards creating awakening and interest in the local community about issues like education, health, especially children's health, behavior and attitude, especially of children's rights, duties of the grown-ups, responsibility for social justice, and all-round development in the village on micro-plan basis. So let us see the video.
In the school, we have also taken support from the various government schemes under Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan and the MP-led fund. And we have also provided a science lab which has over 125 experiments which are being used to build scientific temperament in the schools around the village. And we have students coming from various government and public schools also to take use and make use of the lab. It is also a proud moment when the school was converted into a middle school, seeing the strength of the students coming and benefiting out of the facilities that we had provided. Today the middle school has also been sanctioned the program under Atal Mission, and it would be soon launched there. I am sure that this will provide more impetus to the scientific temperament around the area. At the same time, any organization also has its weakness. I feel the biggest challenge is to get the right type of people to work in the rural area. We also are facing the same challenge because of lack of funds from supporters. High salaries cannot be provided. But the youth working with us have migrated in good positions, having worked dedicatedly towards the student building. I am sure that the mission that we have been working with will provide more opportunities to the students in that area, and we are working toward improving the health and hygiene also of the students. In any organization which is running an NGO, it is very essential that we take care of the realities and the ground requirements. The focus should be on the needs of the area, and we should work accordingly. If we take the case of Himvats, which is an NGO working in Champawat for the last over 20 years, it has been seen that we have worked with a focus on education and health. It was seen that in the rural area, schooling of children was a problem, and therefore we focused on providing basic amenities to the school children. Our strength has been that all the members of the NGO are working towards providing something back to the society after having seen around the world. The background has been laid by Dr. Bisht, who is a retired professor from IIT Kanpur and who grew up in the same village, Kulethi. The school, as normally in a government school, there were 2 classrooms only. But today we have provided them with 5 classrooms, 1 for each class, given additional teachers, and we are teaching the students using tablets. It is a proud moment when the school has also been selected for the Atal Mission, and we hope that the same will be launched soon. In the school we have also taken support from the politicians, and today we have a science lab which has over 125 experiments which are being used to build scientific temperament for the schools around the village. No doubt there are different weaknesses in any organization, and we feel that the biggest problem is having the right type of people inside.
Now, little more information about this NGO. Their main activity and projects for Enabling Education, Our Learning and Science Resource Center, adopting a school program, vocational guidance and training, My Clean School and teachers training. They are working in the following in the broad areas. As you can see, environmental awareness, social empowerment and corruption eradication, public health awareness and Ayurvedic knowledge. Then there's one unit of it, one wing of it, Savidya Upsamiti, for providing quality education. Let us now identify key strengths and weaknesses of this NGO on the basis of information shared in the video, and let's put it in the quadrant of strength and weaknesses. On the basis of video, we can infer, in case of a strength, strong knowledge base based on 20 years of field experience is one of their strengths. Experience and expertise of founder members in enabling education is another. As they said, that they have dedicated staff members. They are working at the grassroots level. They have sound knowledge of the local community. Further, as their strength, they are utilizing digital and technological innovations for bringing social change in the society, particularly by providing tablets and smartphones to the children who lack access to internet and technologies. Participatory approach is another strength in which they try to enable and empower children of nearby government schools and public schools. Again, living with their vision, as they communicated that they are developing scientific temperament among rural children through science labs, identifying and seizing opportunities at the right time, as this NGO is seizing and converting opportunities to its advantage by availing the benefits of various government schemes. So these are few of their strengths. But take case of their weaknesses. As per the information shared, high employee turnover rate or high volunteer turnover rate is their weakness. Inconsistent sources of finance from donors or from supporters is yet another weakness. They are unable to pay high salaries to competent employees. Why? Because of lack of funds. So, because of this, young and dynamic employees are migrating to advance their career. So this is again one weakness which this NGO is facing. So strength and weaknesses are internal factors within an organization, hence can be identified. So you learned or you gained an understanding from the video that strength and weaknesses can be identified from resources an organization own. These could be human resources like staff, volunteers, board members, physical resources, say land, building, equipment, then financial resources, grants like funding agencies, other sources of income. Their core competencies, distinct capabilities are one of the two areas where you can explore your strengths and weaknesses. Functional areas of management, organizational culture, experience in the community served, processes and procedures. So these are the areas where you can find out your strengths and weaknesses. Further, one should remember that when weaknesses are correctly handled, then they may change into strengths. Therefore, NGOs should assess their weaknesses from time to time so that they can develop strategies to improve or overcome them. Further, strengths also need to be nurtured, as any aspect that may be a strength in present may develop into weakness in future if not handled properly. So, strengths are always need to be nurtured and weakness needs to be carefully assessed. Coming to the third quadrant or the third aspect or element of sort, is it opportunity. An opportunity is a favorable condition that exists in the environment and that will help an organization in reinforcing and strengthening its position. It can be defined as an element existing in the environment that an organization can use for its advantage over its competitors or other organizations. Say a few of the examples: rising demand in one or more market segment, economic development of the region, favorable industry trends, forward and backward integration, sector is expanding with opportunities for growth in future, or say serving additional customer groups or expanding into new geographic market or segment could be few of the opportunities which an organization can identify. In case of NGO, say international NGOs developing partnerships with the local NGO, it could be one of the opportunity. Use of social media for enhancing the visibility of NGO. Digital technologies can be used for fundraising, planning, organize online events, coordinating with volunteers. See, these can be few opportunities. Supportive amendments in government policies, local government supporting NGOs, few examples of opportunities. Further, significant opportunities can also be created by shift in social trends, profiles, and behaviors. Coming to the fourth element, that is threat. A threat is an unfavorable situation that is present in the environment and that can pose a risk to the organization or its success or its growth. So, these are unfavorable conditions that can negatively affect the organization and can threaten the basic functioning policies, plans, or procedures of an organization. So, threats can cause damage to the organization. Therefore, these are external variables that could adversely affect, or you can say negatively impact, the performance of an organization. Hence, these may create few problems in the functioning of an NGO or can have an unintended adverse long-term or short-term impact on an NGO. And hence, these may result in financial, operational, and technical risk. The few examples of threats are slowdown in the economic growth, technological changes that undermine the demand for the company's product, or say growing competitive intensity among rivals in the sector, or say costly new regulatory requirements, market changing not as per the expectations, adverse changes in the foreign exchange rate and foreign government trade policies, shift in the consumer behavior, the economy, or the government regulations. Particularly in case of NGO, say few of the example could be of threats like unfavorable political environment in the area served. Similar projects are being completed by leading NGOs, so it will give a little scope to local NGOs. Companies partnering with international NGOs instead of local NGOs, reducing industry's profit, demographic changes in the areas served, political effects, legislative effects, environmental effects on NGO can also create few threats. Economic slowdown in the country. These are the few of the examples of threats. So, the SWOT analysis is usually done with the help of the template in the form of a 4-cell matrix. These cells of the matrix represent the strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. A SWOT analysis organizes these into a list that is presented in a 2x2 grid. Hence, a SWOT analysis has 4 quadrants as depicted in this matrix. As you can well notice, that first quadrant depicts strengths. In second quadrant, you see or identify weaknesses. In third quadrant or cell represents opportunities, and in the fourth quadrant or cell, you will work for the identification of threats. Now, the 4 areas, like in the case of the strength, there are few questions which you need to address. You need to ponder upon. What are your key competence areas? What are your capabilities? what unique resources you own, what strategic advantages do you have over other organizations, what are the activities where you do well, and these questions you can address in case of strengths. In case of weaknesses, questions could be, where are you lacking? Where are you facing functional difficulties? Where are you facing problems? What are the areas where you are facing resource crunch? In which domain your competitors are performing better than you? So after answering these questions, you would be able to identify your weaknesses. Coming to opportunities, which trends in the environment can strengthen your position? What is the nature of the trend? Well, this nature could be short term or is it long term? Is capitalizing the trend will give you an added advantage? Is any new community you could potentially reach through seizing the opportunity? So these are few questions in case of opportunities. In case of threats, what are the circumstances that could restrict your sustainability, that could create problem in your functioning? What development might hurt you? Which external circumstances might negatively affect your progress or your performance? What scenarios could jeopardize your efforts? Therefore, a SWOT analysis helps you to build on strengths, to reduce weakness, to capitalize opportunities, to neutralize threats. So, an opportunity existing in the environment will not have its relevance until you have adequate resources, adequate capabilities or skills to encash that opportunity, to grab that opportunity. You say use of social media for funding is an opportunity. But if you don't have technological expertise or know-how, then to avail the benefit of social media as an opportunity would be non-meaningful, hollow, or you can say shall be insignificant. So the key question to address are, should we invest more in our strength to make them even stronger? Or should we invest in our weakness to at least make them competitive? For better understanding, let us take a brief hypothetical SWOT analysis for an NGO. XYZ Association is a non-governmental organization that focuses on providing quality education to the underprivileged children in a small town. This NGO intends to empower children, their families, schools, stakeholders, and community through education. It tries to ensure empowerment of underprivileged children through training and various awareness activities. Their special focus is on girls' education and protecting their rights. Volunteers provide educational and mentoring assistance to these children and also work for their emotional well-being. So let us identify strengths of this NGO. The first could be sound knowledge of local society as well as its culture and economic conditions. So NGO is able to implement the programs effectively. They have good number of beneficiaries served in absolute terms as well as per activity. High client satisfaction rate, dedicated and enthusiastic volunteers and employees. Then clear vision and mission of NGOs for increasing the organizational performance, quality of service delivery, impact, or increasing their organizational performance are few of the strengths. Even NGO functions with complete transparency and accountability. Again, this is a strength. Let us identify weaknesses. Now, they are poor at networking, particularly corporate networking. Less diversity is there in funding sources. This is a weakness. Few training programs are organized for trainers, volunteers, and employees. And lack in professional work culture is their weakness. Delays in decision making, absence of strategic planning, weak technological capability. Even NGO is using minimum of internet and relevant social media platforms. So these could be few of the weakness of NGO which is into this education, in enabling education. Now opportunities, This NGO they assess that international NGOs are interested to partner with grassroots NGOs or NGOs working at the local level. So this could be an opportunity for them. NGOs are collaborating with private sector companies also. So even many government scheme has been launched for educating underprivileged children. So government's plan on education with schemes to provide technology-driven education in this country is one of the opportunities that they have identified. Digital technology is amplifying its presence. Educating underprivileged children through online classes given scope for them. Coming to the threats, scant attention of donors in children's related social initiatives these days is they are perceiving it as threat. Other more established NGOs are working on the similar purpose. Changes in laws and regulation require the restructuring of NGOs. Economic slowdown due to pandemic is a major threat which they are witnessing or which they have assessed. Corporate social responsibility funding is being diverted towards COVID-19 relief. So this they are assessing as a threat because less fund would be available for them to function or funded by the donors. So accordingly, similar exercise you can conduct for your NGO on the basis of analysis. So Carrie, we can even plan for desired action. Like you have to explore the avenues through which you can take advantage of opportunities so identified using strength. You have to plan strategies for overcoming your weaknesses. SWOT analysis help you to identify these weaknesses and threats before actually they can create some issues to your organization. So for example, in this case, NGO may organize more capacity building and training programs for improving knowledge and skills among employees and volunteers. Even NGO can also utilize digital and technological innovation for bringing social change in the society. They can also use social media for scaling up their visibility and reaching out to potential donors. They have to strengthen their technological expertise and should utilize information and communication technologies in their internal system and even in their day-to-day functioning. Even they can opt for online learning for providing education to the underprivileged children, particularly by providing tablets and smartphones to these children who lack access to internet and these technologies. They can partner with international NGOs and can avail the benefit of government scheme for empowering vulnerable children. Now coming to another part of that is TOWS. Now this is another variant or a form of SWOT, and it's termed as TOWS or TOWS, which was introduced by Heinz Weyrich, in which an organization's external opportunities and threats are identified, and then they are matched with strengths and weaknesses of an organization to result in strategic alternatives. The external environment is emphasized by TOWS, while internal environment is emphasized by SWOT. So this analysis serves as a foundation or basis for the development of TOWS strategies and the creation of actionable tactics. These tactics, or you say strategies, we will be discussing in the next slide. Therefore, TOWS is a good tool for situational analysis. As you can see, that threats and opportunities are first assessed, and then these are matched with weaknesses and strengths. So TOWS is basically an action-oriented matrix that is based upon the outcome of SWOT analysis. These result in 4 sets of strategic alternatives, which we just talked about: SO strategies, ST strategies, WO strategies, and WT strategies. SO strategies are those strategies through which an organization could utilize its strength to take advantage of opportunities. ST strategies are the ones that consider the strength of an organization as a way to avoid the outward threats. WO strategies try to take advantage of opportunities by overcoming weaknesses. WT strategies try to be defensive in nature and try to minimize weaknesses and avoid threats. Let us take the discussion further by identifying 4 distinct alternatives, or you can say kinds of strategic choices. So these are maxi-mini, mini-maxi, maxi-mini and mini-mini. So as per Verich, the aim of maxi-maxi strategy is to utilize internal strength to avail maximum advantages of the external opportunities available to the organization. So maxi-maxi means maximum at both the levels. The mini-maxi strategy attempts to minimize the weaknesses and to maximize the opportunities. The aim of a maxi-mini strategy is to maximize the strength of an organization while minimizing the threats with the support of these strengths. The aim of mini-mini strategy is to minimize weaknesses and minimize threats. It is a position that any organization will always try to avoid. So SWOT analysis can be conducted for the organizations as a whole, as well as for any unit or department, even for any single program or event. The analysis for preparing the SWOT matrix could be done by a group or in teams in a workshop or in a brainstorming session. Here, individual working with NGO can also carry personalized SWOT analysis for their personal growth and development, and with the best versions of themselves, they can work effectively in the organization. So now let us briefly recapitulate the SWOT analysis and its 4 elements. So SWOT depicts strength, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. Now this is a traditional strategic planning tool that helps you to understand your organization better in a holistic perspective. So SWOT analysis gives you a clearer understanding of what strategic action should be taken. It is very useful tool for NGOs, particularly in the present scenario, and the analysis of strengths and weaknesses of an NGO become a prerequisite for the successful formulation and implementation of organizational strategies. So here you can identify, you can describe, you can prioritize the organization's primary performance areas. Strengths and weaknesses, as you learned, that they are internal to the organization, whereas opportunities and threats are external. Just merely managing the NGOs will not serve the purpose and will not be sufficient unless and until you have to manage the external factors also. So you have to maximize strength, you have to minimize your weaknesses, as well as you have to see and act on the opportunities, and you have to combat or overcome the threats which are existing in the environment. So another variant which you studied is TOWS. Now in TOWS, the external environment is emphasized, whereas in SWOT analysis, internal environment is emphasized. So this is all about SWOT analysis from today's session. Thank you for your patience hearing.